Hey guys, Mike here, and welcome back to another video. Today, it's the long-awaited video. I put this off for a while. Transfer window's closed, so it's time to do my final EFL predictions. There will be one for the Premier League as well, but who gives a fuck about the Prem? Prem's overrated. Let's get into the EFL. There will be no League One or League Two. I don't watch enough or see enough of the League One or League Two to make 100% informed prediction. But the Championship is probably the league I watch the most. But we're going to start off by having a look at my old... Yeah, we're going to have a look at my first provisional Championship predictions. And I know what you're thinking, and I know you can see it. What the fuck are we doing in second? This was made between me and one of my mates just after the Norwich game. So you got to think prime delusion here. First time we've won at Carrow Road for 57 years. Cut me some slack. I promise you, by the way, that this bottom three is not the bottom three that I have. I had these as my relegation scrap. I had Sheffield United just missing out on playoffs, which would have been a kind of like nuts prediction at the time, but Bristol City, Coventry, Birmingham, and also Leicester missing out. I don't know if Leicester are going to be getting a points deduction at all or anything like that. But that's enough of that. Let's get in to the predictions. Starting off with 24th, I've got it written in front of me here. And we're going to go in depth. But it's no surprise that everyone else has got them in there. It will be Sheffield Wednesday. Now, looking at Sheffield Wednesday, their squad does not impress me whatsoever. They've lost pretty much everyone. The only players of real note are Barry Bannon, Nathaniel Chalobah, Ethan Horvath, although he's dropped a few clangers. The one that I remember, the one that comes to mind when I think of Ethan Horvath is the one that 1-1 draw at Kenilworth Road, Luton Millwall, live on Sky, shot straight at him and he's gone through his hands and gone in because of their Pierce Charles is injured. We have no idea when he's going to return. It says return unknown, so... But the rest of these are just not... These are League One players. I'm not entirely sure about Harry Amass, Max Lowe, or Dominic Iorfa. And they've not had exactly the best of starts so far, sat in 23rd. Only being propped up by their city rivals Sheffield United. They have Bruno Fernandes, to be fair, so who knows? But yeah, an easy 24th for me. 23rd, in a similar vein, we have Blackburn. Blackburn are 23rd because they've lost everyone. If I scroll down, Tyrese Dolan, Lewis Travis, which fuck knows why they got rid of him, Dominic Yam, Callum Britton. If we go in a little bit more depth, look at all of these outgoings. Gardner Hickman, Callum Britton, Lewis Travis, Danny Bath, Andy Vyman, Tyrese Dolan, Rankin Costello. Now, I hate Blackburn with a passion. And seeing the name Rankin Costello fills me with pure hatred after that 22-23 final day bottle capitulation. But Dominic Yam gone, most of their first team players are gone, and to be fair, they've not really brought many proven players in. Like, you're looking at it, you've got players from Kortrijk and Legia Warsaw, Gen, and who the fuck is that? GAIS. They've got one from Moriense, Hibernian, another one from Kortrijk. It's just not. Like, it's just not. Like, you look at it and it's not inspiring at all. Like, I'm looking at their forwards and I'm like, where are the goals here? Todd Cantwell, but I feel like I feel he's past it a little bit. Definitely not the player that he was when he was 24, 25, 23. Um, Harry Pickering, Scott Wharton, and Ainsley Pears can do a job, but Hayden Carter being out means it's not going to look good for Blackburn. And in at 22nd, this was a toss up, but I've gone with Oxford. And it's so easy to put them in there. It is easy to put them in there, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I just don't see how they've like. Let's look at their squad. It was a League One squad at best, anyway, and they've not really improved it that much. Will Lancashire on loan could be a good player, but when you're looking at players like Mark Harris and Tom Bradshaw to keep you up, I think the one positive they have is Gary Rowett, and being a Mill fan, I know all about Gary Rowett. So, in terms of players they've lost, they've not really lost many. Josh McEachran, a couple players on loan, El Mizouni and Ruben Rodriguez. I just don't think that the players that they've brought in, all of these loans, Will Lancashire could be good again, but they're loaning players from the Belgian Pro League. Philip Krastev, unproven, no idea what he's going to be. Ben Davies in from Rangers, Nick Prelec from Cagliari. Luke Harris from Fulham could be a good signing, to be fair. But it's like, come on, man, like, I can't put them anywhere else other than there. And it feels easy, but it just doesn't seem like they've done the best business. It's just like there's not that standout player that some of the other clubs near the bottom are going to have. And that's why I've gone with Oxford. 22nd, 21st, we have Watford. It was a toss-up between 22nd, 21st and 20th. But I've got Watford down. I think Watford will be down there. But Iran Kunda, Quad Wobar, Chuck Matadze being injured doesn't help, but he should be back at the end of the month. But a couple of signings from Udinese, Montpellier. Nampalys Mendy's a good signing, I do feel. Mark Bollard as well isn't a bad signing. I just think that look at the goalkeeper situation, like who the fuck is Selvik? Do you know what I mean? Like Imran Luzar again, a good solid midfielder. Same with Musa Sissoko, although he's getting on a bit. But you're importing Tom Ince, and it's like I feel like Watford will be down there. They've started the season relatively okay, 5 points from 4 games. I could be proven wrong, but I can't see them being anywhere above 20th. I feel like they'll be right down there. I just feel like other teams have started the season better that I feel like will tail off to the end of the year, and it's just I don't think they should have got rid of Cleverly. No idea about Pet Solano, if he's good or if he's really like tactically sound. We're yet to see, but watching the Charlton game earlier on in the year, they just looked going forward. They just look like it's just not what you want to see for a team that a club like Watford should be up there in the top six consistently. Maybe not necessarily in there, but at least battling for. But unfortunately, they just aren't. I feel like it's going to be another grim season for Watford. And in 20th, I have our noisy neighbours. Other side, please. Other side, please. Thank you. We have Charlton. Again, I've not seen anything special from them. But I do think they've done some good business. I think Kaminsky in is a decent signing. James Bree, Rankin Costello, solid fullbacks at this level. At this level, Charlie Kelman, a good League One player. Don't get me wrong, but step up to the Championship, can he replicate it? Not sure. Isaac Alafe, he was at Millwall. I've seen him. I feel like we could have maybe given him a little bit more time. There's a bit of promise, but I remember that one game against Cambridge in the Carabao Cup. I think we lost 2-0. And he had a one-on-one and should have scored. And Tom Bradshaw or any other strikers at the time score that. And then I just haven't looked at him the same. I think they've got a couple of solid, decent players that could do a job. Connor Coventry, Tyrese Campbell, Matty Godden, a seasoned veteran at 34, but again, I feel like we're going to see a lot of 0-0s and 1-1 draws down at the Valley. That's probably the prediction for this game. Like, we've had a good start to this. Oh, I say a good start. We've had a polarising start to the season. Can't buy a win at home, but we have a 100% away record. So, everything's pointing towards a win for us. But same old Mill, we struggle to beat the shit teams, but we do well against the good teams, which is why I feel like this will be a draw. I feel like it'll be a game that will largely dominate like Wrexham. But we'll go into that another time. This is my Championship predictions. But I have Charlton 20th. I don't think it will be as close as last season. I think Charlton will be safe come the final day. I think they may be safe for the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. But I can't see Charlton anywhere higher than 20th. If they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. But I just don't see anything higher than 20th for Charlton. Maybe 19th, but they're going to be in a relegation battle. I feel like they'll be able to build on after this season and then become a comfortable mid-table side after this year. And I think that's the. I feel like that might be the aim for Charlton's owners, is making sure that they stay in the division and build on that. And in 19th, now the next 5-6 teams could be put in any fucking order. I've had to pick the order, and I feel like changing it up a little bit. I'm going to change it up a little bit. No, we'll go with what I was thinking. And we got Portsmouth in 19th. Now, had a decent start to the season, to be fair to them. 7 points from 4 games is decent, and I feel like at home they're going to be a force. But I feel like Colby Bishop just isn't doing as much as a team's going to need from him. Like, he's got 1 goal, which is fair, but like, I think the signing of Connor Chaplin though is really good, which is why I feel like maybe I should put them higher. John Swift coming in as well is I say decent. It's a very good signing. But I feel like their defence needs a little bit of work, and they still employ Jordan Archer. But I feel like the defence could have a little bit of work. I'm not completely sold on their defence, but I feel like they'll be comfortable. They'll be safe again. Like I said, it could go anywhere from 19th to 14th. I won't be surprised if they do finish 14th. They brought someone in from Club Brugge, in Josef Bursic. But I think I'll be pleasantly surprised by Portsmouth. But again, I've got to put them somewhere. Same with the other 5 teams that I've got here. And again, they could be anywhere from here to here. But next up, we have Preston. And no, it's not because it was alphabetical or anything. I feel like they're doing a good job so far. They're level with Portsmouth. They're about on the same level as Portsmouth so far. But Dobbins, unfortunately, currently injured, but he looked decent in the game that I watched. But I feel like they've got a decent defence. Thierry Smalls, a smart buy. Daniel Iverson as well. Solid goalkeeper at this level. Story and Gibson. And Odeluga Offia as well. And even Paul Valentin. Solid players at this level. I feel like Paul Heckingbottom, when he gets like a hold of the team and like they start playing how he wants them to, I feel like when they click, they'll be decent. They'll definitely 1,000,000% be safe. Alfie Devine as well. We were linked with him. I don't know if we ever put an offer in for him, but he ended up going to Preston, and I feel like he's a good signing for the season. But overall, it'll be a much improved position for Preston than last season. I don't think they'll be down there in the relegation battle as much. I don't think. I know this is the top of relegation battle, but I think like this is the cut-off point to these two or three. Um, to these three in the relegation fight. I feel like everything up here. I'm confident everything from here upwards and maybe up here and upwards is more than fine. None of them will be in any danger. This could finish in any way, but Gary Rowett's an escape artist. He's done that with us for years and had us punching above our weight, but Oxford's squad really do hamper things. And bottom of lower mid-table, we have QPR. A decent-ish start to the season, 4 points from 4. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. And you're going to need to be up where Portsmouth are joint 8th, like 6-7 points from your first 4 games. Kwame Poku, unreal signing. Richard Kone as well. Um, 2 players that have come up from League One. Karamoko Dembele, I've had my eye on for a few years since he was a Celtic. I think he's a decent player that only 22. Is he on a permanent? He is. So he could develop into someone. And if Poku, Kone, look, these are signings for the future. And I feel like eventually they can push on and get up the table. Norrington Davies is a decent signing to just shore themselves up at the back. Paul Nardi and Joe Walsh. I'm not entirely sure about Joe Walsh, but Paul Nardi looks decent. Steve Cook kicking on a bit, but is that a leader? But if their players come good, we could be looking at a top 6 side in the next 2 or 3 years. Ilias Chair, I thought he was 30 or 31. He's only 27 as well. So it does look like QPR will, well, like I said, QPR will be comfortable. Losing Charlie Kelman, he wasn't there last season. Kenneth Powell, they've not lost anyone of note, really. I'm sure they'll be fine with all of these outgoings. Powell, Fox, and Shepherd, the only permanents, with Kelman being the only one for money. They'll be fine. Again, it could be anywhere from these could be anywhere from 18th to 12th, much like everyone here. Like, this is the hardest position to pick. 18th to 12th is the hardest to pick. This league is so competitive, especially at the bottom. It's so hard, and it took me a good half an hour to get my provisional final positions. Like, I wrote down all the numbers like 45 minutes before I'd written the last name. I went from bottom to top, obviously, and even the top six was so hard to decide. Like, this whole league is. It's why, personally, I feel like it's the best league in the world. Because it's so hard to predict. Like, with the Prem, like, you're picking one of the three teams to win the league, and you've got a good idea of who's going down. And while that's the case with Sheffield Wednesday, they could have, like, a purple patch that shoots them up the table. Like, it's always so packed and tight down at the bottom that it's rare that we're going into May with 2 or 3 weeks left and top 6 is confirmed and the bottom 3 is confirmed. Like, it just doesn't happen. But with that being said, above QPR, I've gone with Hull. Now, you notice that I had them, if I can bring up the photo. You notice I had them here in the bottom 3. Same with Preston. Like, I'm already looking at it, and I've changed this so much. I had Preston and Hull to go down, and then now after all that, I've got them finishing 16th. Like, yeah, this is what I said. Like, it's so hard to predict, but again, much like QPR, they've had a decent start to their season. They've brought in John Lundstrom, who knows this league. Darko JB, I thought was a signing that we should have made, but again, a good young holding midfielder. Joe Geller and Ollie McBurney, seasoned veterans. Though Gellert's only 23. He's been in this league for like 2 or 3 years. Casey Palmer, a decent player as well. Regan Slater. I'm not going to say much on Hadziametovic. But Brandon Williams and Ryan Giles, quality signings. Semi Ajayi, quality buys. John Egan, again, seasoned veteran, bags of experience. Cody Drama and James Furlong, players are already there. I feel like Hull will be fine. I just don't know about Sergei Yakirovic. I feel like since even Ndala signing from City, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, it could go anyway. And in terms of their departures, I'm not entirely sure that there's a lot that they'll really look back on and think, fuck, maybe Alfie Jones. But Joao Pedro, I think, is a fine loss. Same with Northern Amrabat, 38. Don't want them kind of players in if you're, looking to stay up, because you can easily get sucked into the bottom 6, 7, 8. So I feel like Hull will be comfortable. And I think that, again, Hull could finish 20th, 19th. They could finish 13th, 12th. As you saw, moving on, we've got Derby. They've had not the best start to the season, but the signing of Travis is good, and same with Danny Bath. Not entirely convinced on Zetterstrom. They're conceding a lot of goals, but Ben Brereton Diaz and Carlton Morris are good signings. I'm not entirely sure on Ryan Brewster, and Patrick Aguiman is out injured, so they're going to be without him for a bit. But Andy Weimann, a good signing. Ebu Adams is a decent player. Bobby Clark from Salzburg could come good for them on loan. Owen Beck, the same boat, although he's out injured. I feel like, again, Derby will be safe. They're not going to. I definitely think that Derby are the type of team that will finish in that more closer to the 15th to 18th rather than closer to 12th. But again, one purple patch can see them shoot up the table, and I feel like they're good enough. Moving on to 14th, we have Wrexham. A lot of people are going to be like, huh? Or you might think that I'm a bit, on the biased side, considering they've only just picked up their first 3 points and it was against us. Same old Millwall, giving out freebies. But I think they're a decent squad. Nothing special. Nothing absolutely, like, mind-blowing. I don't think Broadhead is 10 mil worth. He's not worth 10 mil. Ryan Longman, decent player. Ryan Hardy, a good goal scoring striker. Same with Kiefer Morgan. Get them out of sticky situations. But you're looking at the squad that are going to be backs against the wall for 75 of the 90 minutes. I'm not sold on Danny Ward whatsoever. I don't know why this doesn't say he's injured. But again, like, if Nisbet could finish, we'd be looking at a clanger after dropping it before he got injured, dropping the ball at Nisbet's feet. But I don't think Wrexham will be in any danger. I think they'll be anywhere from 14th to 11th. I don't really think they'll be lower than 14th come the end of the season. Ben Sheaf is a smart signing. Dobson, again, a League One player. I won't say at best, but he's a League One midfielder. Not really proven that much at this level. Lewis O'Brien, a good pickup. Again, he's another one that scored against us, but 3.5 mil. And same with Elliot Lee. Just like, it's not anything special. They're not going to do anything crazy where they're going to finish in and around the top 6. But they'll be more than comfortable. I feel like it'll be a nothing season for them to build on. But I think people that think they are going to suffer, and I think they will, I think they'll be fine. 14th for them. And 13th, Swansea. Again, like, this is tough territory here. I like Vigouroux. I've always thought he was a decent goalkeeper. Cabango, a good defender. And building on that, Ricardo Santos, I'm confused on why they've picked him up. But Galbraith, Adam Eder, another one that's just like, what? Manuel Benson, a really good signing. I thought, why the fuck did we not go for him? Instead, we went for an unproven Tiano Ballo. We'll get into that a little bit later. But they've not made many, like, oh my god, fucking brilliant signings. They've made some solid, signings. That Ronaldo looks good. And Ji-sung Yeon. They're good. We'll see how Adam Eder does, because for Norwich he wasn't the best. And even at the Celtic, he wasn't exactly like a 20-goal a season striker for them. But I feel like they'll be more than fine. They've got a decent squad. They started the season pretty well, like Portsmouth, Preston. 7 points from 4 games. They'll be fine. Again, they could finish anywhere from 13th to 10th. But I don't think playoffs, they'll be nowhere near. I feel like they'll be comfortable mid-table, but that's about it. Next up, we have, I think, 12th. Yeah, they are 12th, if it would move along. There we go. Norwich City. I just don't know. This is a team, like, these are so hard to predict. Because they could finish 12th. But then again, they're a team that could finish all the way down in 20th. I'm so, like, perplexed on what the fuck to do. Losing Borja Sainz and Jonathan Rowe and Marcelino Nunez, to be fair. And Angus Gunn, I'd say. Losing those 4 and replacing them with players that I can't speak on Kovacevic or Grimshaw. Even personally, from Plymouth's time in the Championship, I don't think Grimshaw was their best goalkeeper. Obviously, that was Michael Cooper. But in terms of the players that could have picked up, I feel they should have gone for Connor Hazard. I think he's a better goalkeeper personally. Maybe they try to, I don't know. But Liam Manning really needs to get a hold of this Norwich team, because if it wasn't for Sargent, they'd be probably near enough in the relegation zone already. Like, I just don't think that it's a nothing special squad again. Sargent is the only like class player in here. Papa Amadou Diallo. When did he sign? Did he sign? Yeah, he was there for the Millwall game. Same with Chris Gordon. Makama wasn't. I don't think. No, Makama would have been. But Topic, I feel like in defence they're okay. Medic needs to. Oh, I can speak from Kovacevic. I feel like he needs a bit of time. Um, he needs a little bit of time to get used to the league, because get him settled. Because I feel like there's a couple of shaky moments against us. Same with Medic. I feel like not really gonna he needs to adjust to this league. Same with Topic. But having said that, Harry Darling is a good pickup. He played well. He was one of the only Norwich players that played well against us. Stacey. Oh, I just feel like he's too exposed. And to a degree, Jeffrey Schlupp. Christine and Mahovo aren't going to play. They play a back three with Schlupp as a wing back. But I feel like they just get too exposed behind them. Like, they commit so far forward, the pair of them, that it's so easy to get in behind them, especially Schlupp. But it was both of them, for both of our goals against Norwich, both of their wing backs were exploited for our goal. We were in behind Schlupp. Kramer got in behind Schlupp for the first goal, and Doughty was ahead of Jack Stacey when he slipped in Langstaff. Do I think there was much Stacey really could have done? No, but if Schlupp was in position in defence, it's harder for Kramer to get the ball across. So I feel like they'll be fine, but they're a team that are so hard to predict that they could finish. They could finish here, or they could finish down here. Like, it's so hard to predict them. Next one's a controversial one. Look at Sheffield United. They've started so poorly. Look at their squad. Michael Cooper, probably, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the league. Japhet Tanganga, in my opinion, slightly biased, I don't care, is the best centre-back in this league. By far. And it showed in the game against Middlesbrough. That game could have been 6-0 to Middlesbrough if it wasn't for Tanganga. Like, I saw a photo posted online on Tanganga, like the Sheffield United's player ratings in their game against Middlesbrough. Everyone was orange except for Tanganga, who had a 7.5. Everyone else was in the low sixes and somewhere in the fives. But in January, it looks like they could lose Harmer. And if it wasn't for Harmer, I'd have them a lot lower. Ogbeni, I'm not exactly sold on. Same with Danny Ings. They're just uninspiring signings. Ben Mee, they've bolstered their defence a lot, which is fair because they're on -6 goal difference, which is the worst in the league so far. But Ruben Sellers needs to get a grip, or he could face losing his job. Losing Admanodzic, Vinny Souza, it's difficult. I think Ben Godfrey is obviously a really good signing. Tahith Chong. Chong went down with Luton. Don't think it's that good of a signing. Alex Matos, no idea. Again, much like Sturridge, comes from Chelsea's under 21, so I won't have a clue. But I've got Sheffield United 11th. In 10th. Surprise package so far this season. And again, another team that realistically could finish up here, but then could finish down here. and they've changed from what they used. They've been on a steady decline. I think their last 4 seasons it's been 16th, 17th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, or 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. But we've got Stoke. They've started really well. I think they've got the second best goalkeeper in the league, for sure. And they've just made a few smart signings. I think Divin Mubama will be someone that comes good for them. Bosniak as well. But Baker and Pearson and Zonzi somehow still playing football. But Chamadeu and Cresswell look to be like decent pickups. Ashley Phillips as well, alone, but again, player for the future that looks decent. Manhurth and Vidigal. You know, I feel like Sorba Thomas is a bit of a confusing one a little bit, but I can't speak on Lamine Cisse coming from Bastia, who I'm pretty sure are League Deux. Um, much like Matthew Sacco. So Mark Robbins, a very good manager as well. I feel like Stoke will be up in and around mid-table, but it definitely, from a Stoke point of view, a welcoming change, and I feel like they'll be fine. Maybe they could push up a little higher, but I've got them there. In ninth, West Brom. Now, from ninth to fourth, again, like from 10th to 19th, anywhere. Like, you're going to have a couple teams that will finish in the bottom part of that. But even from here, even from Stoke or Sheffield United, if things click at Sheffield United and they have a good January window, they could have a really good end to the season and see them in the playoffs. But anywhere from 11th to 4th, like, it's so difficult. Alfie Gilchrist is a player that's good. He's a good fullback. Toby Collier, good signing. Bielik as well. Mepham and Phillips are good, experienced defenders. Callum Styles, Jason Malumbi, and Jed Wallace, the 3 former Millwall players. When they're on it, you know, they're good players on their day. Daryl DK, Colin Grant. Unfortunately, Marge is injured, but Marge is a very, very good striker. Samuel and Julia on loan as well. I feel like West Brom will be in and around the playoffs for sure. They probably could sneak in there. It's difficult to tell, but they've had a fantastic start to their season, still unbeaten. It just feels like I'm not entirely sure about George Campbell, but I'm not entirely sure if they can keep it up throughout the whole season. West Brom tend to have a month or two where they go through like a rough patch, and with such a young manager, maybe that's been stamped out, and maybe he gets West Brom in the autos, maybe. Because personally, I'm still not even convinced on who I've got in my automatics. But Caleb Taylor, we brought him in our reserve judgment till I've seen him. Dean Garner, another player who's always, like, I feel like losing him and Tom Fellows, 2 brilliant wingers, especially Tom Fellows. Watching that Wrexham game, Fellows run the show. It looked very, very good. Hegem, I'm not sure is going to be the biggest loss, and Darnell Furlong as well, considering they brought in Gilchrist, Bielik, Nat Phillips, and Chris Mepham to cover Hegem and Furlong. I feel like West Brom will be fine. I feel like they just miss out, though, in 8th position. This video is already 40 minutes long. Holy hell. There's not really much for me to cut out either. But in 8th, I've gone with Coventry. Oh, again, like, it's so hard. It's so hard. But I've gone with Coventry. I know it was a cup game, and they've had a decent start to the season, 8 points from 4. I feel like that's 2 wins, 2 draws, still unbeaten, I think. But watching that 0-0, I think they've had 2 0-0s, but watching that opening day 0-0 against Hull, I think it was. They even threw a load of they did start a couple of um, kids against us, but by the end of it, they did have full strength. Haji Wright converting his penalty, but Mason Clark and Thomas Asante, brilliant forwards. I am very, very not convinced by Ellis Sims. I feel like I feel like he's a League One striker at best. That's being generous. I've never been a fan of Ellis Sims. I just feel like he is nowhere near as good enough as Haji Wright or Thomas Asante or Mason Clark. Even Sakamoto, really good player. Rodoni, one of, if not the best player in the league. When he's on it, he's so good. Rodoni. Matt Grimes, a decent, experienced midfielder, solid. Jake Bidwell. Jay Da Silva and did they not have? Oh yeah, Van Avijk. There we go. I thought he went right back centre. That's why. 2 solid wing backs for this division, and Latibonia, Wolfenden, Bobby Thomas, and Liam Kitching, all solid centre back options. Unfortunately, Dovin is injured, so they've had to bring in Carl Rushworth, which can't speak much on. I've not seen much of him. Victor Torb as well, and Josh Eccles. They've got a solid squad, but they just miss out, and they're only in 8th because I've got Bristol City 7th. They have had an absolute flyer to the season, same as Coventry, but they've got goals in this team. Yaboa, Mayulu, and Emil Reese, and even Hirakawa. They've got goals in this team. Scott Twine as well. Bringing in Adam Randall as well as a holding midfielder. Neto Borges, but Josh Campbell slowly. But other than that, I've not really done much to their defence. They've had to bring in Vitek and Lumley. Lumley they already brought in. I think they've had to bring Vitek as cover for Max O'Leary, who's injured. But I feel like Bristol City will be up there again. I think a lot of people had the mid-table. I think I've seen a lot of people put the mid-table. Because they feel like they're just going to fall off the pace a little bit. But to me, no, I don't think they will. They've done if they're going to fall off the pace, they haven't shown it. Which brings me to 6th place, and I cannot put us any higher. I feel like, personally, in terms of our squad, we are 10 times better than last year. We missed out by 2 points on the final day. I think anything less than playoffs is a failure. I think any lower than 8th is a failure. But I feel like the table could finish like that or like that. But personally, I've got us in there. And I've got us in there. I feel like we'll have to wait and see on Ballo and on Smallbone, who's currently injured. And we've got a lot of injuries at the moment. Billy Mitchell, where is he? Alfie Doughty, Femi Aziz. But I think Langstaff's out injured as well. But we've kept Ivanovic. I feel like Tanganga's not as big of a miss as most people might think. Hopefully Caleb Taylor can fill his shoes. I feel like the lack of a right back might come back to bite us. I said it in the video yesterday. But Kramer, one of the best defenders in this league, and the fact he's only worth that much. I don't know how much we bought him for, but that is probably the biggest. I think that's a better signing than Tanganga. Considering, yes, we bought Tanganga on a free, he went for 8 million. I think we only paid $500,000 for Tristan Kramer, maybe. I'm not entirely sure, but he will go on to be worth 7 figures at least. I say at least. It will only be 7 figures. It's not like we're going to get 100 mil for him. But he's a player that in 2 or 3 years' time we could be seeing in a team like Brighton or even a team like Villa or something. A team that are like on the fringes of Europe. He's that good. Same with Denor. Mitchell's currently out injured as well. But we just need to get settled, stop building on our home form, carry on the away form, and we'll be fine. But Fleming was already a loss from last season. Nisbet's gone. Praise Lord, hallelujah. I went through it in much more in depth in yesterday's video, where I reviewed our transfer window. But Tiano Ballo comes with some good-looking stats. Once the thing that really drives home playoffs for me is we've had, I think this is our joint best start to a championship season since we got promoted again. But we normally have a slow start, normally on around 4 or 5 points, or after 4 games, and then after Christmas or Boxing Day onwards, click. Then we're in gear. Like last season when Alex Neil came in, he lost. It wasn't until the turn of the new year, we lost on New Year's Day to Oxford, and then it clicked, and then we was in motion. And then, other than the odd loss, we were like comfortable in certain games. So I feel like that's going to happen. We're going to have a better start to the season, and then click in the second half of the year after the January window. But that depends on how good our January window is. If we end up losing Ivanovic, which I don't think we would, maybe someone comes in for Denor or Kramer. Could be in a sticky situation. But it all depends on how we build on a squad. But yeah, I've got us in 6th, but again, it could be, we could finish down here. Like, it's Millwall. We're so fucking inconsistent. 5th, I've got Middlesbrough. Now, I know they're the perfect start to the season. The only unbeaten team, the only team to win every game. And I feel like losing Azaz, I think, did they lose Azaz deadline? I don't think it was deadline day. Vandenberg and Coburn, they've had our fucking pants down for Coburn. This might be the best bit of business any club's done, getting £5 million. I say 5 million, it's 2.8. I think just the exact fee. But again, like, yes, they beat us 3-0, and you can say what you want. You can call me butthurt. You can call me a fucking idiot. But they weren't that good against us. Definitely wasn't a 3-0 game. And yes, we ultimately lost the game 3-0. But they weren't outstanding. They were a better team. They deserved to win. But if we got a bit lucky in that game, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Middlesbrough, this is why I've got Millwall so high, is Middlesbrough and Wrexham, if these key moments go our way, we'd be looking at 12 points from 12. And we're top of the league. But we're not. Morgan Whittaker is not the same player he was at Plymouth. I think he's he's the Jack Grealish of the Championship. Playing at Plymouth, Grealish at Villa, and now at Everton. Standout player, but in a good team like City for Grealish and Middlesbrough for Whittaker, he's not that standout player he has been. Tommy Conway, decent striker. I think he'll be up there rather than Sargent. I feel Conway and Sargent will be your top 2 for the Golden Boot unless one of them get injured. Bergsorg is a decent player. Whittaker again is decent, but not nothing special. Alan Brown's a good signing. We were linked with him. Hayden Hackney again, just like Rodoni, one of, if not the best midfielder in the league. Sver Nipan, no idea. But Ayling, seasoned, experienced fullback. Callum Britton's a really good signing. Matt Targett, although he's apparently now injured, But Dale Fryer, Alfie Jones, and was it George Edmondson? I think the three centre backs played against us just looked us off. I feel like Middlesbrough will be up there. Really good start to the season. Rob Edwards in charge. I feel like Middlesbrough could be anywhere here. Bristol City to here. Now, in fourth, Birmingham. I hate the fact that they're this high, but they have thrown 15 million at the league. Stansfield, I don't see the hype. I really don't. He is not the striker that Birmingham fans want him to be. The way Stansfield is made out by Birmingham fans, it's like he's the greatest striker the world's ever seen. But he's not a 20 goal a season striker. He's just not that good. And if he's a 20 goals a season striker, half of them are pens. Like, he's an okay forward, but he ain't nothing fucking special. Like, Kyogo, brilliant buyer. Marvin Duksh as well, comes with that pedigree. Damari Gray, brilliant signing. Tommy Doyle as well. Fujimoto looks decent in the game against who did they play? I can't remember who they played. Ipswich, that was it. And even against Blackburn. Erin Cashin, another good signing on loan. James Beale. Decent signings all around, but you'd think that they'd be up there. They've had a decent start, 7 from 4, much like Swansea, Portsmouth and Preston, but I feel like Birmingham's squad as a whole is definitely better than these three. Come the end of the season, I think they'll be in the playoffs. And now we've got the 3 promoted teams, which seems easy to say, but I've gone with Southampton. Now, again, all of my family are Saints fans, so I've got an eye on them. But their goalkeeper situation is a joke. The fact that they employ this man baffles me. But Howard Bellis is a decent centre back. Kwashi looks good as well. Jack Stevens too. Roeslev is a really good pickup. Same with Ryan Manning, solid fullback at this level. Flynn Downs, Shea Charles, and Joe Aribo, decent midfielders. Can't say much on Jander. Finn Azaz is a massive, massive signing for them, replacing Tyler Dibbling. Samuel Edozie came back from his loan spell. No idea on Matsuki. Ryan Fraser as well, and then would pass it at this level. But Tom Fellows is a good signing. Adam Armstrong, Cameron Archer looks to be good forward. Damien Downs as well impressed me in the game against Wrexham. But losing Mateus Fernandes and Tyler Dibbling, they've made a lot of money. Kamaldeen Sulemana, Aaron Ramsdale. Again, they've made some good money. I think that Ramsdale's only on loan. But I feel like in terms of the sellings, Amo Amior not really done much. Bednarek's only 29. I thought it was like 35. Wow. Kamaldeen Sulemana again. Paul Onuachu. A lot of these players. Bella Kotchap as well is only on loan. A lot of loans. But a lot of these don't even get in there on their subs bench. A lot of them. And then a lot of these are just players that came down with the club that they pretty much had to offload. But that's why Southampton are third, and my top 2 go like this. I've got Leicester first. Start with Ipswich. 3 points from 4. I'm pretty sure that's 3 draws. Yet to win a game. Let me just double check. Yeah, draw against Derby, a loss to Preston, a draw with Southampton, and a draw with Birmingham. Like, they just started slow. But They're proven at this level. Agpom, a brilliant signing. Jack Clark is a phenomenal player at this level. Same with Philogene. Schmodix as well. Marcelino Nunez, a fantastic coup. Ashley Young, a little bit past it. I think it's there for experience reasons. But Furlong, Harry Clark, Leif Davis, Cedric Kipre, Dara O'Shea, Jacob Greaves. Solid squad that you think once they start to click again, even the signing of Casey McAtee is a brilliant one. George Hurst as well. When you've got Schmodix, Hurst, and Akpom all fight for a place up front, you know you've got some quality. And it does feel like um, they are just going to bounce straight back up. It completely wouldn't surprise me, like at all. No idea who the Saiban Azon is, or Matu Siwa, or Wally Gali, or Gelly. But it feels like they're just taking time to. They're just taking a bit of time to get settled. I think once they've settled, give it a month. By the end of October, they'll be battering teams every week for the rest of the season and piss off into the distance. Now we've got Leicester. Again, three wins, one loss from their first 4 games. Beating Birmingham, Charlton, again, losing to Preston, and then beating Sheffield Wednesday, which was skin of their teeth. But Stolarczyk is good, but they've lost Hermansen. Not really replaced him with a player that's that good. But at the same time, Sutar back after his loan spell. Vestergaard and Wout Faes, Premier League quality centre-backs. Luke Thomas and Ricardo Pereira, Premier League fullbacks. Oliver Skip, Hamza Chowdhury, Harry Winks, Aaron Ramsey, Steffi Mamadini, Isahaka Fatawu, if Dickeldova Reed and Passon Decker are all like Premier League strikers. Jordan Ayew, a bit past it, you would say is Championship level. Boubakary Samaro, another one. Like, they've just got a very good squad, haven't they? And again, if they get hit with a points deduction, then they could fall all the way down here. But you'd think that that's going to be it. And that is the final table. That's the final table. Again, anything from here up, anywhere from here upwards, and like here and below. Maybe not down here, but from Stoke down to Portsmouth, even Charlton. Well, from Stoke down to QPR could be anything, and from Norwich down to Charlton could be anything, or maybe even Watford. Like, we have no idea. I feel like Stoke are going to be that surprised. Like, there's always that one surprise team in the Championship. I feel like Stoke are going to be that team storming into 10th. But again, it's so difficult to predict. It is hard, but I feel like let me save this so we can come back to this another time. There we go. No thanks, piss off. But there we go. That is my final prediction. We'll come back to this in January, and at the end of the season, playoff winners will be Middlesbrough. I think they go up. I feel like Birmingham and Southampton lose in the semis. It'll be Southampton, Millwall, Birmingham, Middlesbrough. I feel like it'll be these two in the final. And I feel like we lose in the playoff final. And then next year we go and fucking win it like we always do. But yeah, this is my prediction. Let me know in the comments below what you think is wrong, what you think you would change. Let me know any of your predictions for the season. Doesn't have to be where a team finishes. You can tell me Premier League, not Premier League. You can tell me your surprise package. You can tell me individual players, teams. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you for the Prem predictions.